welcome back to the Platform Skate Podcast, episode 15.
Episode 15 with Adam Thompson. He's our coach surfer today, which I'm excited about. Yeah.
At least one of us are excited about it. I'm a bit nervous. My girlfriend's excited, so.
Awesome. Wow. We're doing this for her then. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks
We are happy to have you, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to enjoy hearing.
I don't know. Do young kids know who I am, or do, like, growing up, like, there was a lull after
there
I
was
quit
a big
skateboarding
lull.
that I don't know how much the scene was going on. That
Right. Yeah, there was a lull, but I'm going to say that people are going to enjoy hearing, because the one thing I keep hearing is people love to hear the stories about the era that you skated in. Yeah. And so we have you here.
It was one of a kind.
It was, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And so I think when I think of your skating back in the platform days, the first thing that always comes to mind, big S shoes.
S or Osiris. Yeah, S. I got a pair of S on right now.
I was gonna say the S's that you're wearing.
They came back.
They're not too small.
They're not too big. They're not D3 Osiris's that Shaq used to rock.
Yeah.
Shout out Shaq.
But yeah, I just remember a lot of years, and I think often they were green.
Green, I had Eric Ellington green, like tricolor green ones. They were beautiful. Yeah. I wish I could find those shoes. They had a 3-tone brown Eric Ellington shoe. Any bright colors, blue. I had bright colored S blue ones. Oh, I miss them. I had them in my parents' shed for years after I stopped skateboarding, just for nostalgic purposes.
But that's awesome. That's awesome.
I miss it. I mean, it's probably detrimental to our skateboarding ability, right?
Those
like,
big shoes?
Yeah. I mean, like, now you look at Lakai's, you look at those high top or the Converse, like the flat shoes. Mm-hmm. You can feel the board, you can flick. I mean, it was probably better for our safety.
Yeah. And
or getting our feet beat up, but
yeah, and a lot of the big huckers nowadays are going back to a lot more padded shoes.
Padding,
so
but I never hucked big, so I don't know what did I do, like a 6 set or a 7 set maybe, the biggest.
Well, there you
Chino,
go.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so let's go all the way back.
Where it started?
Where it started for you?
7th Street Northwest, Portage, La Prairie, on a mini banana board, like a foot-long mini banana board.
The plastic ones?
Plastic one with the hard wheels. I learned how to hard flip. I learned how to kick flip. I could only do sex changes for about a month. I guess it'd be a gender reassignment flip nowadays, which is it's all right.
Yeah.
But I never used a Wally. I never skateboarded with a Wally.
Nice.
I skipped over the Nash. I think they were called Nash, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I skipped over that, and my parents got me a Powell deck.
Okay.
So I had parents that were supportive and invested in me to go into things I liked, right? And so I had a Powell Angel Boy deck for years. It lasted me, right?
Okay, yeah.
And never scratched up the bottom. I thought it was a slick for years. It wasn't. It's just I never knew how to do any tricks on it.
Yeah.
And growing up with guys at LVS school,
okay,
we started skateboarding there, and then that's where I met Shaq and developed a friendship with him, and he brought me to platform, and he talked about the crazy days there.
Yeah.
That was just introduction to the platform. And
yeah, so you were young when those days were crazy, right?
Grade 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be hanging out. Had my mom known. I mean, she used to walk me there, but
yeah, most people shouldn't have been hanging out there in those days. But
there was some tension there, but it was an outlet. It was a beneficial time in my life. It was transformational.
For sure.
For me as a person, skateboarding.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the questions we had for Shaq was just about being able to feel welcome or included there. What was your experience?
You had to earn your stripes.
Yeah.
You didn't walk unless you were a younger brother of one of the older guys that were there.
Okay.
You definitely didn't just show up and have respect. You had to, and rightfully so. That was the culture back then. Like you were talking on the last podcast about a subculture, right? A counterculture. That was the rebellious thing to do, was to be a skateboarder. And you had to definitely gain those guys respect, whether it be hucking tricks or learning or getting better or, you know, being funny or being, you know, being bad. I guess I wasn't. I was an angel, but no, it was definitely somewhere that didn't feel welcoming at first, and I think maybe that's contributed to a bad reputation for skateboarding. And like people compared like jocks to skateboarders. Being a nice guy is a prerequisite back then to being a skateboarder, right? You weren't automatically a nice guy.
Yeah,
there were nice guys, Brett
Yeah.
McDougall, welcoming guys that just were such good skateboarders. And once you start getting better and progressing, I go there at 8:30 in the morning. My parents would drop me off, or I'd walk with a bottle of water, and I'd be there till 4, 5, 6 till sunset.
Wow.
Just to get better at skateboarding and to push myself, and that was all I had to live for summer days for years.
Wow.
Yeah. So that whole counterculture part of it, that's not what would have attracted you then.
No, I was a hockey player at the time, and it was a team sport, right? And then I was more introverted, I'd say, more individualistic, and it was something that, you know, I always thought was cool. Skateboarders are cool. I don't know, maybe seeing the older guys in the baggy pants and the chains, you know, the chain in the wall. Like, I asked for one of those one year, and I got like a baby chain. I never wore. Sorry, Mom. But that's I don't think that's what attracted me. It was not my character as a person. It still isn't today to be that, you know, rebellious type. But it was the more individual. You know, skateboarding is a humbling thing. Humility teaches you humility, and that's probably one of the best attributes I've taken from skateboarding. Is that, you know, how many times you fall, get back up and get your butt going, do it again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. That's, I think most of us can resonate with that. We might not have used those words, but we can resonate with that idea for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, who was part of your crew back then?
Shaq, definitely. Justin Hunt, Matt Mulvey. Those are the guys I skateboarded with at LVS. Like, we would be outside the school because they had a freshly paved blacktop at the school. It was a blessing, right? Anywhere that was smooth. Beauchamp. I didn't really have, like, LVS didn't have a big crew, right? We didn't. It's hard to recall everybody.
Yeah.
But guys that were most influential were Shaq, and I don't even remember when Beauchamp came around, but he was definitely one of the most consistent guys that there were. Like, he doesn't get enough respect for his style, his consistency, his pop, his everything. He was but once, like, I started hanging with Shaq, it was just an introduction into more and more people. It brought me out of my shell. I was a shy little kid, right? And I didn't really have many friends. So I think he was probably sick of me hanging around, so he just gave me a little pity. Started hanging out with him, and then we became really good friends.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's what it was, but LVS. Did you guys have a rail or anything?
We had a shops class at LVS. So some of the guys would build rails, like start to get into that, and we had like double rails that we'd learn on in front of my parents' house or down the street at Matt's. And that's just going at it every day, learning how to board slide, 50-50.
Yeah.
It was nothing, but it was everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember you talking in one podcast about, like, had we had the equipment, the park at that time, how much better we probably would have been instead of, the platform, which was ghetto.
Yeah.
That's one word that described the platform.
Yeah, it's funny because you're right. Like, for its time though, like, there were guys that would drive out from Brandon or Winnipeg to skate at the platform.
At the platform.
Oh,
like,
wow.
why? Like, you guys don't have anything.
Yeah, it was, I mean, that was before the days of skate parks, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so, we'd have guys come out. So it was definitely an appealing place, even though, like you said, there wasn't a lot there, and kids nowadays just don't really know how good they have it.
They have it. They're blessed. Maybe not so much in Portage, but
right.
Portage, get on that. Portage, City of Portage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Help us out.
Yeah. Exactly.
What was your favorite part of the platform then?
The plywood bank that was it wasn't ply. I don't even know if it was. Yeah, it had to have been at one time. It was like OSB, but it was all I ever used, and with like flashing from a roof for the. So it was. That's still my favorite to this day is on a bank or right around volcano or the Gap. There was the Gap. There was tricks off the platform, which is, I don't know, 2.5 feet. Like what's the level?
I think it was higher than that.
I could only up it, so it couldn't have been that much higher.
It had to be at least 3.5, I think.
Well, yeah. And then we had a black bench that we loved, the double rails, and then we used to. Somebody brought out like a 2-foot box or something. Nobody could do tricks on like it was you had to work your way up.
Yeah.
Just the smooth surface is what I love the best about the platform.
I love that.
It's like floating on clouds, right?
Yeah. And so the Gap was just like a hole in the ground, right?
Yeah. You mentioned it in one. Yeah.
I remember Steve used to tell me, like, even before we started the podcast, about the platform, and he was saying like that was everybody's favorite thing to skate. And it's such a weird thing. It's just a hole in the ground, right?
And there were smaller, like, must have been for posts.
Yeah.
Right.
And those are all over the place. So you worked on your tricks over those, and then you brought it up to worked your way up to the Gap, and it was it's nostalgic even.
Yeah.
Right? Light things on fire and do tricks. So don't hope your board doesn't fall into the abyss.
Yeah.
And the bank, was it the bank where it was just a bunch of railway ties stacked up against the wall?
It was on the wall, on the west side of the platform against the edge.
Yeah, and then it was just like nothing was nailed together, right? It was just a piece of plywood
around.
Just kind of thrown on top of the
railroad ties were a influential thing in the platform.
Yeah,
we made a lot. We made do with what we had, and
it's close enough to the railway too that
we could go over and hike over and get 2 or 3 guys and get tarred up. They're covered in the grease so they don't so they don't rot. And you just what are you doing?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. There were a lot. We had a lot of railway ties up there.
Do it yourself. You were talking, I think, on the second podcast about do it yourself things. Everything was do it yourself then, right? Like everything was. If we could just got some plywood donated to us, I think we could have fashioned some sort of.
Yeah, I just the problem was that.
Well, I'm talking even before YFC got involved.
Right.
You had, but somebody would light it on fire.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it wouldn't matter if we got it there. It would just get burned or something anyways, right? Although we did have, right at the very end, Shaq and I built a hip. Mm-hmm. And it was there, and it actually lasted, and it actually got moved into the Campbell soup. So, and it was surprising actually how long that thing managed to stay up there.
Good.
And
maybe once the rowdy crowd started moving off or getting older and moving away, that just
I'm not sure. But
why did that respect change, like from generation to pass down? That we weren't as. People would still take stuff, but usually like things would disappear from the platform, and then like a week later they'd show back up. You're like at least it came back, I guess.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, and that was always so interesting to me too, was how like you build something there and it'd get burnt, and yet other stuff would just like stick around, like rails and stuff. I'm like, how did these not get stolen?
Yeah.
But there was enough respect, I guess. And I know there were a couple times where stuff would get stolen, and then we would hear about, I saw it at so-and-so's place. And so we'd drive over there, go pick it up, bring it back.
Yeah. Or in the bush, but along the west side of the platform, there was like a disheveled treed area.
Yeah.
And when something was missing, you'd go and search in that bush or along
somebody
that.
Just
chucked in there. I don't know if they were going to take it later, and then...
Yeah,
we'd always find or have to, rival people that Shaq talked about in like the rough old days. Like they would show up and throw it on. Just maybe that's who was burning stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I know like there are times where you'd come there and some of the ramps they had like hatchet marks on them, like somebody came and was going to like chop them up, and even when we had the metal ramps there, like somebody tried taking a hammer to them or something to try.
I recall that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
People.
It's interesting because even now, like, I mean, nobody's starting fires, but the DIY that we got, like right beside the MCC, we like a bunch of the guys built some wood ramps, and then we built like a out ledge off of the drop, and
beside MCC,
yeah,
behind it there,
where the old hotel spot is.
Oh, okay. There's a spot there.
Yeah.
Not that I'll be doing anything.
Yeah. Somebody went there and like destroyed all the ramps and like
just for no reason.
Yeah.
Right?
And even like our out ledge that we built, someone took a hammer to the bottom of it or whatever.
Disgruntled neighbor, or is it like somebody living above it?
Yeah.
So on this subject, that's one of the things that over the years that's always frustrated me is how skateboarders get the bad rap.
Yeah, and sometimes justified, I think.
Sometimes justified, but a lot of times, like,
you're looked down upon as, like Shaq was talking about how you're automatically troublemaker because you skateboard, right? Well, meanwhile, jocks or, football players can go and do the same act and go to parties and drink and still looked at community-wise as you're, hockey players. The way they can act sometimes, that they can don't get the same reputation that skateboarders. It's not fair. But.
Yeah, I know, like, even at the spot by the arena, the one bench that always gets tipped over, and then it's like, oh, those skateboarders. And I'm like, it wouldn't be the skateboarders.
Yeah. We need it.
Yeah. Why would they tip it?
Yeah.
Probably those scooter kids.
Yeah.
No names.
But yeah, no, and that's the one thing that I've found is that often the skateboarder will get the bad rap, and I'm like, let's look at this logically. A skateboarder is not going to destroy his own skate park.
Yeah, so we're talking about burning boxes and stuff. Why would a skateboarder do that? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Rebellious.
Sometimes I think they were already, like, getting damaged or whatever. But yeah, no, it's an interesting thing how the reputation always precedes a skateboarder.
For sure. You see kids carrying a skateboard. Even me, now that I'm older. Just kidding. How is the scene in Portage now? Is there a lot of active skateboarders, or is it?
There is not as much as we had back in those days, for sure.
There's not the good spots, street spots.
Yeah,
that there was.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it is growing. Like, we got a lot of young guys, and so I'm hopeful for the future.
Do you see a shop opening up again sometime?
I don't know.
Possibility.
That would be nice. That would be helpful.
Something small, right? Like,
yeah. But yeah, we do have, and I am working with Parks Committee in town to get a skate park built. We're actually just starting our fundraising campaign, and we're just in the process now of working with the city to get somebody to do a design for us.
Nice.
And so I think if we can ever get that built, which hopefully will happen in the next couple of years, then I think this scene will blow up.
It would. I think it would. Like, I would take my future children there.
Yeah.
It's sad that smaller communities you go to drive through Winkler, there's a park there.
Yeah.
Like, my gosh, why doesn't Portage have something that's, get on that city of Portage?
Well, unfortunately, the city is not helping. They've already told us that they're not giving us any money towards it.
Safety, insurance, liability?
No, they spent it all on the
island.
Yeah. So they
roundabouts.
Yeah,
maybe we'll skate the roundabouts.
Yeah,
the hip and the volcano.
Volcano.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Maybe we need to get on the design team for that.
Yeah.
So Shaq didn't talk about street skating, but Shaq street skated.
Oh.
He didn't talk about.
Okay.
We used to skate the clinic, the co-op. There used to be a mall where the co-op is.
Yeah.
And behind there was some like rollers and some ledges that he forgot to mention.
Good to know.
Crescent View School. There's that down bank.
That bank.
Yeah. And then there was the green
benches
back there.
Right.
He tried to grind the top of those and stuff when we were younger. That down bank was great.
That down bank is still great. The issue is they took out the sidewalk that was above it.
So it's grass. Is that?
It's grass
and gravel.
Okay, that's what
I
you were
think.
talking about. Okay, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. But the bank is still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it used to be paved,
It was
and you
paved.
could like
you
do
could skate
tricks
around the whole building almost.
Yeah.
tricks into the bank
Into
or
the
what?
bank.
Oh,
Yeah. Fakey frontside heels. Oh, love that spot.
Yeah, it was when the sidewalk was there. That spot was awesome.
yeah, that sounds
There
awesome.
used to be a long manual pad at the clinic too before they did the renovate. They added on to it.
Right.
Okay.
I have a video. I shouldn't say that. Somebody has a video. There was a video of Shaq nose manualing like 40-foot sidewalk, and then the cops pull up right behind him with the lights flashing, and as he's doing it, it was the perfect timing. I would love to see that, but I don't think it exists. I don't think it exists. We spend a lot of time at the clinic.
Okay.
And then people would get stupid and climb on the roof, and it just ruins the spot, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're getting watched, and signs go up, and
And the old co-op, what was
the whole co-op? I that's when I had just first started. I think it was like 13, 14. We'd go there. Shaq would have been 15, 16. So yeah, somebody would have driven us there somehow. I'm not walking all the way from the north end to go. But I remember there was ledges and stuff. That's just when I started though.
Okay.
That building got demolished. Yeah, I would love to see some videos or footage.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know that anyone skated back. I remember the parking lot back there, but I didn't know that it was skated.
Which co-op was that?
By the existing co-op, there used to be an old mall with like the music store and other stores inside of it.
Yeah, the building is gone.
The building's gone now.
Oh, but which co-op?
Oh, the grocery store.
Oh, that co-op.
Yeah,
okay, because there's like the two gas stations. So
there used to be like a restaurant there. And
okay.
Showing our age.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little too young.
How many years have you been skateboarding?
Be 20 some now.
Skateboarding.
Still trying.
And you have you have to ask if you consider yourself a skater. Like what? That's you can take the skateboard away from the person, but you can't take the skater out of.
That is true.
Like I still consider myself a skateboarder. I haven't stepped on a board. Well, besides that, I haven't stepped on a board for 6-7 years, and probably for the better. But I still consider myself a skateboarder. So
and fair enough, because I would still consider you a skater as well.
Right, and once a skater, always a skater, and your perseverance to keep skateboarding, like not at your age. I wasn't going to say at your age, but to come from BMX and then you're a skater. Give yourself some credit.
Thank you. So then there's a transition where all those older guys that were at the platform when you started, they kind of moved on, now all of a sudden you find yourself to be the older guy there.
Senior, I'd say. And then guys like Kalen came along. Yeah. And Rhett. I didn't really skate too much with Rhett, but once Kalen came along, it was like, I should just quit. This kid's too good. Like, what? Trying to keep up with him was the battle, right?
He was good,
just where did that talent come from? He just stepped on a board and.
Yeah, but
sickening. I worked so hard to get this kid shows up. That's when the metal ramp started to come around, right? And then I sort of faded away from skateboarding a bit, and then Campbell Soup opened up, and that was the renaissance. That was the revival, I'd say, of my skate. Had we had Campbell Soup open up all winter, like imagine where our progression could have been, like you said earlier. And
yeah, exactly. I've often wondered about that. But before the fade out there for you at the platform, I want to say that there was a time there, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it was Campbell Soup era, but there was a time where I felt like all you did is skated switch.
Because I thought about this actually when you told me to be on the podcast. I don't know if it's direct correlation with me pushing Mongo for the first 6 months of skateboarding and getting bugged. Maybe that helped. I don't.
Well, Colin Breckman would say that it did.
Yeah, the pushing Mongo would help.
He said it helps him for his fakie.
I think so. Or but that was years before, so I don't know. Maybe it was ingrained. But yeah, switch became almost easier. Like switch 3 flips, switch hard flips were easier than regular, which is abnormal, right?
Yeah. And that's a thing that's what I remember about you from that era. It's like, this guy can do switch better than regular.
So, yeah, people were, I wouldn't say jealous, but I got a lot of guff through the grapevine that, he's just skate switch. He's goofy now. He's not regular. Like, it's just like when I learned how to do hard flips, I used to hear people talk about me like, oh, that's all I can do is hard flips. That's all I can do is hard flips. Like, like we talk about skateboarding like it's an inclusive sport, but it wasn't at that time. And I hopefully it's changed. Hopefully it's, it is more welcoming to people. Like, when I got older, I had a chip on my shoulder, a bit of an attitude when young guys would come to this platform. And I think that was directly related to the way I was treated. Like you earn your respect, you earn your strength. You don't just show up and just, and that's a terrible way to be. Like now that I'm more mature, right? Like developed your maturity.
Yeah, there must have been some jealousy around there because I wouldn't say that I experienced that. Yeah. But I wasn't good enough to
but
get
you
the
were
hate.
Welcome though, right? Like
so much.
Yeah. You didn't have too much of a hard time.
No, and that's why I would say for me it was inclusive.
Yeah.
But
maybe because those older guys were gone in that sort of era of deserve it, or that idea that you have to, deserve to be there was gone and was fading away. It was younger guys like Kalen were coming up, and Shaq was getting more mature and not so rowdy. And I forget a lot of the faces. I hear names now and then I put them to the faces that used to come to the platform. I'm like, like these guys were Rhett Wall started to come, and Kyle Gibbs, guys like that. Like, and they were good. And growing up, like some of the older guys, I remember them chirping us when we come to the platform, and then all they could do is like couldn't even do kickflips or couldn't do shove-its, or they're struggling, and then they sort of just, when you got better than them, they sort of just faded away. You never heard any,
Yeah. Brett McDougall, he would have been older than
sick.
You, eh?
He was sick.
The guy was
shove-it, tail grabs,
Oh,
launching, those 360 flips, even snowboarding, it was far beyond anybody. I think he was probably the best skateboarder. Although there was a guy named Gary Starr.
Yes, I remember Gary Starr.
He would show up, and we'd all just sit down.
Everyone sat down to watch.
And he came like once every 3 months, and he'd just light it up, and we just sit down. Let's just sit down and admire this. Even the skate guys would come to the platform, like the skate team. Where you were talking about that gap on top of the platform. Yeah. And like tricks I see a switch heel flip over that. Like that's a 6-7 foot gap. And then that day you were talking about the clearing that gap. Yeah. So like when the skate guys would come, that was, even to Campbell Soup, those were like honored to come watch the Borders Anonymous team. Is Borders Anonymous still a shop?
No, they just shut down. Yeah.
That was my spot on Portage Avenue. That was the place to go, because it was close.
It was close. Yeah. But yeah, when the skate guys showed up, you're right. Everyone sat down to watch. I remember Brett McDougall, and this is just a plug to, hopefully we can get him on here sometime. Because
he's a nice guy. He better come on. I'll send him a link.
For sure. I just remember him being just such a natural and just like so clean, the style.
He was definitely a big influence watching him grow up, and he was just the nicest guy, and he was welcome, and like James Galston, I know you're friends with him, or he was, those guys were just sweethearts. And then you get the jerks. No name dropping, but but that, if you were a young skater, that could have been, a turn off from skateboarding, that attitude, right? So I sort of regret some of the way that I treated younger guys coming up, that I wasn't probably the most welcoming guy. And a lot of that comes from me just being defensive, and then, like not intentionally being a jerk, or just
it's interesting.
Chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, it's interesting that you remember that, because I do not. I remember you being one of the nice guys.
Yeah. Thanks.
So the metal ramps came.
Yeah. They were loud and scary.
They were loud.
We weren't used to dropping in on anything, right?
Did it change the way you skated?
Did it change the way I skated? It was less ghetto. So it was easier. I mean, it was scary. I was scared to cut myself on some of that edging, but the down rail that was built into the volcano,
Yeah.
that was great. That was skating vert. I guess that was only right. You had a mini ramp in your basement, I think.
Yeah.
And then the one in Campbell Soup, but I had never done transition like that until. So yeah, I guess it would have changed, right? Learning how to do stalls and stuff. I always wanted to learn how to do a blunt stall, and I never did. That's just that getting that coping, and then rocking back or popping back. I just could never conceive how to do that. And that was,
I'm with you. That's always been a dream of mine.
Right?
Yeah.
But once, I think that wasn't one of the metal ones moved to Campbell Soup. No, there was.
All of them were.
They were all there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I learned how to do a lot of vertical, coping stalls and kickflip backside 50-50. 5.0 stall and stuff.
The only transition you would have had was that bank then, right?
Well, yeah, like a slope, or what's a vert, not vert. What's the transition called on a mini ramp? Like we had banks all the time.
Like transition. Yeah.
But anything like curved,
right?
We didn't we had nothing like that before. Yeah. I don't. And then we went to California.
Yeah.
Yeah. That shack incident at the border. He tried to avoid talking about. Bewildered look on his face. That was the last year he went with you guys?
That was the last year,
and he was, because he was 18 that year, and I was 17. Yeah, that's a memorable trip. Those were.
So talk about some of the memories of that.
Oh, just waking up and seeing palm trees. I mean, waking up on the bus. We woke up in middle Montana, I think, and we went for breakfast and just grabbed our skateboards right away. Skateboarding every time you got off the bus. Give us a chance to skateboard, and people, the rest of the California Breakaway would crowd around and watch, and it was like you're a celebrity, right? And then we went to the parks in Knott's Berry Farm, where we stayed, that one hotel.
Buena Park?
Yeah, I think we walked to it from the hotel.
Yeah.
And just seeing the kids there that were just like, 12, 13, like busting. Yeah. It's like, that's the life. If you want to move, like Otto Sari says, and Medic Man, if you want to move, be a professional skateboarder, you got to go to California.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's become such a global sport that that's not necessarily true anymore.
Yeah. Definitely there, like, I mean, it was skate parks everywhere there back then, which we didn't have access to now, which there is a little bit more access. We have more skate parks available to us in the region now. Back then, there just wasn't a whole lot. So going there and just hitting all these skate parks was just
seeing
crazy.
That for the first time, too, right? That culture, seeing that existed as a whole in California.
Yeah, and again, going back to that whole idea of people skateboarding all year round and how much of an advantage that is.
Beneficial, too. Yeah.
Whereas we had to switch to snowboarding for...
Yeah, and I didn't snow. Oh, I played... So here's the story where I started snowboarding. I think it's probably the first or second spring of skateboarding, and I was with my cousin down the street, and I was ollieing a deck. I fell, broke my leg in 2 places. I was out of commission for like 5 months, cast up to my hip, to my thigh, and that year when I got back healthy, my dad asked me if I want to play hockey, and it was probably the hardest thing. I had to tell him that no, I want to snowboard. Took me to Sports Check, and we got the Division 23 or Division 32 board. Jeremy Jones used to snowboard for, and that was me and Shaq would go to the arena and build kickers and stuff at the arena at the overpass, and that was my introduction to, because I broke my leg and I wanted to get away from that team sport, right? And so I had a brand new pair of Vans shoes that I just loved, and I only could wear one for the whole time. So when I got both shoes, one was brand new, one was once I got back walking. I've had a lot of injuries, skateboarding related, snowboarding related. It's ridiculous.
What would have been one of your worst ones?
Broken leg in 2 places.
Yeah, that one.
Me and Shaq were going to Alberta to go snowboarding. To visit my sister was in Calgary. And we were with David Braden at the platform one night, and we had there used to be like a table with coping on it for sliding at the platform.
Picnic table?
Sort of like a picnic table, and we put it down the side of the platform, and they pulled me, and I I went to do a tail press or nose press or something I had no business doing. And I slipped and I twisted all the tendons, all the in my upper legs.
Oh.
And it was the day before we were supposed to go snowboarding in the mountains. So Shaq went. We still went. But it was ginger. It was it was terrible. Swellbow. I want to talk about Swellbow. Do you guys ever have this reoccurring for 2 whole years? My elbow was like 3 times the size, and my mom kept saying like, you need to stop. Like, nope. learning how to fall is a trick in itself, right? Learning how to bail slam and do it safely is something that you learn, right?
Definitely. That's something that I always say, and even now, like slipping and falling on ice, I feel like learning to fall on a skateboard has taught me how to fall.
Yeah, it's definitely key for longevity in this.
Yeah. And even if you like fall wrong, like I found like I haven't been skating that long, but I found like over the years my pain tolerance has gotten way better. And so like even like
shinners,
if you fell the same way someone else would fall on ice, it's easier to get up, I find. So
toughen up.
Yeah.
Another thing skateboarding does is make you tougher.
Yeah.
Mentally and physically, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
But we had a lot of good times at the platform, like before they demolished it or whatever. That was my life for years, for 5-6 years, every day till sunset. We used to watch the sunset and then get your butt home.
Yeah.
But it was rough, but it was still a influence in my childhood that I will never forget. Right, and I'm glad you guys are keeping it alive with this. It's cool. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. One of the things in that era that was interesting was how many of the skaters in Portage came out of the North End.
Is it? Is that something recognized that? I haven't recognized that.
Yeah, it's like if you think about it, like most of the guys in your era were all North End guys.
North End guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. There's nothing to, I guess maybe because it was in the North End, Central.
Maybe. Or
maybe because the guys from Cocoa Platts were more into other sports. I don't want to make assumptions.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but that's the
Brett
one thing.
McDougall, Shaq, me.
Yeah.
Justin Hunt was good, little ripper.
Well, it was a bit more accessible though. Like all the stuff to skate was in the North End, right?
Yeah.
Like the platform and whatnot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
yeah,
I guess like Cocoa Platts is on the complete other side of town. So,
like when I first started skateboarding, it was guys were rocking minis. Guys my age were like Kyle Martins were skating those minis, like 7-inch boards, and I don't know why more kids don't start on that. That would be, like easier to flip, or would it be harder to transition to a regular size board once you get bigger?
And I think you just got to let the smaller sizes go. Just accept that.
No, guys, you got to hold on to that. You got to hold on to. So you want to talk to Shaq about the size of your boards?
Let's
8.25.
Let's talk about the size of boards, because any skater nowadays,
or wheels,
I think, is shaking their head at what you guys skated.
7.5, nothing. 7.75 was huge for me.
I remember going to 7.75 and it was ridiculous. And I remember Kyle. In fact, we were just watching footage of Kyle the other night and talking about how on the California trip that he broke a board at Chino. And I was just talking about how he was riding really small boards. I remember ordering in minis for him, which would have been
he was still at that age. He was still riding minis.
Yeah,
it seems
absurd. he would when he needed a board and we were ordering boards for him, he would get the smallest board that I could
accessible,
get. Yeah,
and like a youth.
Yeah, and nowadays it's
what 8. What do you ride, Raleigh?
8.25.
2.5, and you ride 8.25.
Yeah,
Is it just easier to land tricks?
I don't know. I feel like with a smaller board, my feet are just dangling off the ends of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not even on the board. So I guess
So my style of skateboarding was more technical, right? I would say.
Right.
So flip tricks, lighter board, smaller board would be easier than than going bigger.
I agree with you in theory.
Yeah.
But I find in reality that for me, if if I jump on a 775 or if I jump on my 825,
Yeah.
it doesn't make a big difference on the flip.
No, okay. Maybe
So-
I'm just deluded.
No.
My fat shoes and my small board. There's
And
gonna
what
be a
size
ratio.
wheels were you using?
56s, 55s, fat, like
Oh, wow.
we used to think like as comfort, right? You're gonna roll softer
Yeah.
wheels. So no wonder I didn't progress like I should.
That's interesting on such a small board and in just big massive
big
wheels.
Yeah.
Like
I'm surprised you could even get that size back then.
Well, apparently they were for vert or something. Somebody
Okay.
said so, but
Yeah.
like 54 to 56 millimeter wheels.
That's what I skate.
54 or 50.
52, 53.
Yeah,
Yeah,
52
is-
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's a lot easier now that they would be skateboarding with smaller shoes and smaller wheels.
True.
Harder wheels, right? It's the
Yeah.
Yeah,
softness,
harder wheels,
the
yeah.
softness that
Yeah.
it's nothing like hitting a rock and sliding, and that was anger. That was anger inducing.
So 56 would have been big then?
Yeah. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Because that's not that big now.
Oh, no, it's not big now,
No.
but back then it was like,
I mean,
There
for
were a
me,
lot of
it's a
guys-
little big, but
there were a lot of guys running 49s.
yeah.
or when you just let them wear down so much that they were just
Just the
low
bearing.
profile, low profile skateboard wheel. No, big shoes, small decks, big wheels.
Yeah.
Everybody, I don't know. Everybody talked about these China bones
Yeah.
or Swiss China bones. They're like $100 bearings. I don't know
Yeah.
if they ever made a difference. Because I
I don't know.
I
either.
rode in the rain. I rode I did, any time to get out and get skateboarding, didn't matter. There's snow on the ground, we'd be skateboarding. So I don't think longevity, I'd go through 4 or 5 boards in a season easy. Like,
Yeah.
just,
So then the indoor Campbell soup. It was a
the
resurgence for you.
revival. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And-
gorgeous, that bank. Oh,
Yeah,
that corner hip.
Bank guy.
I love that you brought the bank up because somewhere I'm gonna have to try and find it. I have a picture of you doing.
It's on my Facebook.
Is it on your
That
Facebook?
kickflip.
What is it? Is it a backside kickflip?
Well, it was, I don't even know. It was like just ride up one side, kickflip and ride out. But
Yeah.
it wasn't direct. Like, it wasn't straight up. I'd push from the other side of the building and go as fast as I could and try and pop. I had them down like 80% of the time I could land those.
And like if I remember correctly, that picture is like some mad pop on it.
It looks like it. I don't know if it is. It might be the angle.
Yeah.
We'll have to find it. I'd love to.
I have it on my Facebook.
Okay,
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a video of it.
I think there would be. I just felt so good. I mean, it wasn't the most technical or hardest trick, but it just felt that bank was beautiful.
And it looked good.
That degree, the slope, the degree. I don't know what it would be. 40.
I don't remember what
But
we made
it was
but
perfect.
that was a nice bank. Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny you bring that up because when I think of you in the Campbell Soup era, I think of that bank. Like you session that bank all the time.
We would all session. There would be 4 or 5 of us standing there, just one after another, just go, and like imagine if we had that when we were 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
How long was Campbell Soup open?
About 5 years.
About 5 years, eh?
Yeah.
And then the insurance costs were just astronomical. I remember.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking, and I think that's when I stopped skateboarding. Basically,
A lot of people did.
yeah, it was.
A lot of people did.
Well, in Portage, there wasn't much.
Yeah. And we had a lot of young guys that were coming up in that time, like
They would have been
Butler and Eric Summer. And
okay. Yeah,
there was a lot of those
There's
young
a video
guys.
of him on the skate on the platform Instagram, right?
Right.
On the okay,
Yeah.
and
so
they could have benefited from that place.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just a good time to be skateboarding in Portage.
Safe place, warm.
Mhm.
Well, in winter, but
It didn't get below 2 degrees.
and just dress warm. Yeah, I really appreciate that. That was
And talking about like you were talking about the platform, how smooth it was, and in there it was too. It was just the cement was just beautiful.
tragic. Tragic.
It is tragic.
You would have loved that.
I would have, yeah. I've seen some videos of it, and
It was that rivaled anything in Manitoba. I think
Yeah, as far as square footage, it definitely did. And in the beginning, it was a little sparse for ramps, but towards the end, we had a really good setup in there.
That step up that they built when you were gone that time. I don't recall that. I don't. No, I don't remember doing any tricks on them. But
yeah,
I've heard about the step up.
Have you seen the?
He hasn't seen that episode yet.
Good.
No, I haven't yet. Yeah,
we talked about the step up in Shaq's episode.
Oh, did you?
how it was built conspicuously.
Yeah,
under the darkness of night.
Yep, exactly.
So, where was your street spots growing up, or did you grew up by Oakville? Or?
Yeah, I grew up in like the middle of nowhere, and like north of the highway.
So, what got you into skateboarding at that? Growing up in the middle of nowhere, like
I played the Tony Hawk games a bit. Yeah. And then I don't know, like sometimes I'd see people in town or whatever, and I was going to high school, and actually Jaden I saw quite a bit skating at the school, Jaden and Brady.
Okay.
Brady one time convinced the teacher in math class that he could kickflip, and he was kick flipping in class, and she's like, hey, you got 3 more tries, and then you gotta stop trying to kickflip in class. Nice. And so like, I don't know, just seeing that kind of stuff, and I was like, man, So I didn't really have any street spots. Once I got my license in Oakville, they had a little 3-stair that was
everything
real sketchy.
Any steps?
Yeah.
There's a PCI had some steps there.
Yeah.
Like a 3 set, and then there was the Mutual. Then there's a place, the Portage School Division on 5th Street Northwest. It would be better for snowboarding because it's pretty rough.
It's really rough.
Yeah.
Like,
I
think it's carpeted on the top too.
But if you took some plywood, you probably could make something happen.
You could, yeah.
There's always a way, right?
Always a way.
How big is that set?
7.
Yeah.
Is it pretty high?
It's pretty big.
It's more than 7.
Yeah, I think it's
is
high,
it?
Yeah.
Is it bigger than 7?
Because I walk by with my dogs every day. But
yeah.
Did you ever look at the provincial building?
No.
We try to bring up the provincial building every time.
Was it Hewins that tried snowboarding? Yeah. That would be perfect for snowboarding, I think. Yeah. If you.
Yeah, you were more technical than.
I'm not big. No, in like snowboarding too. I wasn't huge. It was more like steezy backside 180s. That was my go-to. Devin Walsh, Wildcats, Iris goggles. That was. Snowboarding was an easy transition from skateboarding. It really helped to be a skater first, and then go somewhere. But growing up in the prairies, I mean, like that Mark McMorris or what? So I'm making excuses, right? Like, he grew up in Saskatchewan, but like we had like going from the overpass, or going from Richardson's where Richards Canode is. We used to have a little hip or a kicker there. Yeah, and then going out to the mountains, like wow, what a difference. So you'd progress a lot more if you just, lived somewhere, like if you lived in California with skateboarding or Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you said that, because I tried snowboarding once. And I thought the same thing, like, I skate, it should be fine. Yeah. It was a whole nother animal. I had a terrible day.
Did you?
I couldn't get up the next day. I was so sore.
It's different muscles. It's definitely different muscles. They're like
but I mean,
wakeboarding.
Like the spins and stuff is like, I mean, you kind of, I think you're spinning the same. I wasn't doing any of that, but I'm figuring that it's somewhat similar, no? Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier. Snowboarding's easier. Snowboarding's more about going for it. Skateboarding is more technical, right? And you gotta have that commitment with skateboarding, right? When we were growing up, learning how to skateboard, we would buy Thrasher magazines and have like a 8 picture step by step how to do a trick, right? There was no right. We rent a VHS tape. Yeah, right? Shaq had tons of VHS tape, so we just spend time in his basement learning how to do tricks like that, or looking at a magazine and this is like,
I remember that too, looking at the magazines and I can't remember what sequences they called
them. Yeah. So growing up, like watching skate videos like Toy Machine Jump Off a Building, Birdhouse the End, Osiris the Storm. It was like a cultural thing, right? Like I was into punk when I first started skateboarding. Yeah. Go to the 8th Street, the West End culture, whatever. We used to go listen to punk shows there.
Yeah.
And then like the skateboard videos, snowboard videos came out and started getting to hip hop. And that was like a cultural change for me.
Yeah.
Started dressing like Muska, rolling my pant legs up and wearing ankle socks. Like that was so corny, right? But that's just, it's just
like those videos just had so much influence on what the local guys were doing, right?
Yeah, it's our introduction. That's our only, exposure to that culture and that. Yeah, exactly. And I think that culture changed too, right? Like guys like Andrew Reynolds was my hero growing up. Day One song, like those guys were, and then you got like guys like Muska in this, or Brandon Turner in the Shorties Fulfill a Dream, and it's like that. Yeah, it changed the way you skateboard watching those videos. I think like my style. I watch like the style in California on the bank and coming out of it and just being all relaxed and like shut up, like just give it up, but I think I had like a casual style where it just, you make it look natural, but you're struggling on the inside to land this trick.
It's funny you say that, because I always thought too that like your style was always so relaxed,
but it was tense, stressed
out. You did a good job of hiding it.
It was skateboarding was such a influence in my life and it's taught me so much, and
that was going to be my next question, actually, was to ask you like how how you would describe that influence in your life now, like from coming out of skateboarding as a kid and calling yourself a skateboarder. Yeah. How does it influence you?
How does it influence me today? The way I dress, the way I walk, I guess, but more developmentally, I learned humility. It made me a humble person. It made me not take things for granted. The way that I was helped along by some older people, my parents supported me. That taught me a lot. The way that I saw you giving up biking or transitioning to skateboarding, that definitely taught me a lot. That things it's never too late to try something new, right? And the fact that you're still skateboarding is awesome. I give you all the respect in the world. I'm scared to get on a board. But I think most in all, it was just determination, perseverance to land that trick or to keep trying or slam hard. Like I've slammed hard so many times and get your butt back up and go again, right? That's probably, like hard work, probably self-reflective of who I am today. I don't.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think one of the things that we talked about, I think I've talked about on a few episodes and definitely on Shacks, is this idea of skateboarders are artists. And so
the way you see transitions, the way you see, I would agree.
And I just want to talk about your photography for a little bit, because you're an amazing photographer, and
I've gone away from it, man. I just sort of lost my, working full-time job and worrying about life's issues, right? I wish I could, go back and redo a lot of things, and I appreciate that. Thank you. But I'm lacking. Like I need to get back to it, because it was a passion. It was a dream of mine to go, overseas and do even conflict journalism. Don't want to, but or like social issues. Like, I think skateboarding actually has helped with that too. Like it's made me self-conscious, self-aware of the world. Like learning about, watching skate videos from around the world or Brazil. Like after, I have a story from when I was in Brazil. I was in this small town of like 100, 200 people outside of Belo Horizonte. And a friend of mine who was there, his dad was there, and he's like, "Oh, this guy's a professional skateboarder from Canada." So these kids would come up to me and, like want autographs. And of course I signed my name, but like just that world aspect, global aspect, like you're trying to do in Costa Rica or Lebanon, that's so admirable. And I would, I wish I could go to Lebanon with you and document that photography wise. That would be, just amazing opportunity. But I need to get back to it, and I need to find my ambition again, my motivation, right? Life gets in the way of so many things, and it's unfortunate, right? But I'm not that good of a photographer. I'm not like
well, okay, you're being humble now. let's just acknowledge that you've been on the cover of a magazine.
Yeah,
You have to be a good photographer to get the cover of a magazine.
I was lucky. And there's a spread in it. I'm more proud of the spread in the magazine. But that's what have I done since then? You know, like let's put it into perspective. But again, you know, it's never too late to go back to that.
It isn't. No, you're right. And maybe this will be the spark.
Okay, well, hold me to it.
But I just again, like, just that idea that skateboarders see the world differently and they have an eye for the environment.
There's a
or
blend
whatever.
of artistic ability and creativity in skateboarding. I think you have to be a bit creative. Right?
Exactly.
To see, and that's just natural. I think.
Yeah, and so I just like to acknowledge it with people, like with skaters. I like
Joel Baker and then with their scat.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome. Like that's cool stuff. I don't really know the guy personally, but is like to be an entrepreneur like that and from a young age, and like Kaylin's super talented. Just like Beauchamp was into photography. His photography's great. You gotta get him on here, Kevin Beauchamp.
We're waiting for him to be done in school.
Good. I need to go back to school. I need to, I got to do so many things. I got to get back on a skateboard. I'm going to go skateboard.
Got to end this so we can go skateboarding.
Right on.
Yeah. I definitely did want to bring up the photography because I've always I've really enjoyed your photography, and
I appreciate that.
And like you say, you haven't seen in a while now, but you've got some amazing stuff, and it just, for me, it's again. I'm always so proud of when I see skateboarders do something like that.
It's not something I did when I skateboarded, right? That was something that came after. And maybe it was my lack of skateboarding that I
needed another outlet
for creativity, right?
And I think that's with a lot of guys, like as they kind of like are aging out or whatever, then they find other outlets like that.
I'm just scared to get hurt, right? Like I gotta work. I gotta go to work tomorrow. I can't take a shinner. Like my shins are forever, scarred from skateboarding.
Right.
Like I'm sure I'll have arthritis.
I used to get teased about my shins all the time. People would be like, "Whoa, what? A tank ran over them, or what?" They were just scabbed.
Pretty near. Don't stop skateboarding. Until you can't physically. So who am I to say that?
That's my goal. That's my goal.
Yeah.
60 years old and you'll be.
That's not that far away.
Scary. Is Nico skateboard?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
No,
he hasn't. You haven't influenced him, or
no? It's just not. Yeah,
this is his style.
Yeah, Allie did when she was younger, but then she kind of got in. I mean, I don't know if you watched her episode. But
I haven't yet. No, just only one I haven't watched yet.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I will today.
Just the idea of she got to that age where she didn't have the friends that were into it, and she was turning.
Female skateboarders though are getting better. That girl from Raisa Leal from Brazil. My gosh, this girl's 13 years old doing kickflip backside lips. Or that Felipe Mota. Like, my gosh, these kids are.
I love watching the girl scene blow up. Yeah, it is awesome.
That's great.
Yeah,
support. They need support, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Alyssa Steamer growing up, like that was the big to have a female part in a skateboard video. That was my favorite video for.
It's huge
for years, and then you could play her on Tony Hawk.
Yeah. Exactly. Before we end, I do want to just put a plug in for our Patreon because you're our newest patron, and thank you so much for supporting.
It's nothing. It's really. I want to give you more, but.
Hey, we're
other financial
for sure, and so
helps,
do you
right?
maybe instead of me putting the plug in, maybe you want to put a plug in for people.
Shout out to skate platform skate podcast. Forget where I am. Just hit them up on Patreon and help them out, help the local scene out, and let's get park made, Portage La Prairie. Get on it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much for coming out, Adam.
Thank you guys.
It's good to have you.
I like couch surfing.